One of my most popular videos on this channel is a video I recorded 2 years ago, and it's on my top 5 inserts for the Traveler's Company and Traveler's Notebook. I didn't realize how popular this video would become. At the time I recorded it, I was fairly new to sound editing and video editing, and so I had this grand vision of having some lovely background music with my talking, and it didn't quite work out. As many of you continuously note, and those of you who come across this video for the first time frequently point out, the sound editing is off and you can barely hear my voice. So recently I asked you if you would like me to recut, re-edit, and repost this video, and the answer was a resounding yes. So that's what we're going to do. I shrunk it a little bit based on the other video with respect to just being a little bit more to the point, and also some of the things that I have changed up with respect to how I stack my inserts inside my Traveler's Notebook now so that there's no overhang. And I did a recent video which links to another YouTuber's video, Cameron, who had a beautiful hack for that, and you can take a look here. The other thing about this video that you're about to watch, it is 2 years old. Some of the inserts in that video that I reference are now part of the regular Traveler's Company lineup, in particular the Accordion fold. So there are a few references that are dated, but I thought I'd leave it for posterity's sake and let you watch the video as is. If you're interested in, or if you're curious about a refresh that I did with respect to my top 3 Traveler's Notebook inserts, you can take a look at this video here, and that might be a good one to combine with the video you're about to watch. Thank you all for the feedback. I hope this is a better version of the video and that the sound is fixed.
My name is Greg, and today I'll be taking a look at the Traveler's Notebook inserts. Just a quick recap. This is the Traveler's Company Traveler's Notebook. If you're not sure what Traveler's Notebook is or what I'm talking about, you can find more information at this video up here. There are many different brands of Traveler's Notebooks out there, and if you're new to the Traveler's Notebook system, I would highly encourage you to check them out and see what works for you. For me personally, I've invested in Traveler's Company Traveler's Notebook, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video today and in this Traveler's Notebook series, so this is a continuation of that. And the inserts specifically I'm going to be talking about are the Traveler's Company Traveler's Notebook inserts. Now, the Traveler's Company calls their inserts refills for consistency's sake, and the fact that I've always called them insert because, as you'll see in that video, the refills, or the paper, is inserted into the Traveler's Notebook. So to me, it's an insert, and I think a lot of people out there call it an insert as well. For the purpose of the video today, while the Traveler's Notebook from the Traveler's Company comes in the regular size and passport size, I'm only going to be talking about the regular size refills. This is an A5 Slim, I guess is the best way to put it. There are a lot to choose from within the Traveler's Company offerings itself, but I want to talk about 5 that I frequently use and really enjoy, and that you might want to consider checking out for yourself. Just as a side note, the Traveler's Company inserts are Midori brand paper, and so they're all fountain pen friendly paper. They come in various thicknesses, which I'll talk about. The way I like to use my Traveler's Notebook, I've kind of categorized it in 2 or 3 different ways. One category is the planning aspect of my Traveler's Notebook. Another category is kind of a catch-all notebook, I guess, in terms of just jotting things down. And then the third aspect is using it as a travel journal. So the categories of the inserts that I'm going to be exploring cover those 3, which is the planning, the catch-all, and the travel journal aspect. Let's start with the planner inserts, which of course is about planning. Now, the Traveler's Company has a few different planner options. There's monthly, there's a weekly, there's a weekly with Memo, weekly with vertical, just kind of those 2 couple of subcategories there. And then there's a daily as well. And between the passport version and the regular version, again, I'm only focusing on the regular version, the passport version has similar offerings just in a smaller format. Just something to keep in mind as I talk about all the inserts I'm talking about. There's another thing to know about the planner inserts from the Traveler's Company is that they've got 2 different types. One is a yearly themed pre-populated insert. So something like this guy, which is the 2022, all that means is the fact that they've actually filled out the dates. It's pre-populated. It's printed on right onto the paper for you. The other is a free diary, which doesn't have a color cover, and that's how you can tell. Well, all that means is you're actually filling it out yourself in terms of the dates. The benefit of being in a free diary system, you can pick it up at any point of the year if you decide to use your Traveler's Notebook as a planner and start using it and populating from that point onwards. So the first one I want to talk about is the monthly insert, planning insert from the Traveler's Company. The free diary version costs about $14. And once again, just for a bit of a closer look here, the headers, dates are all things one has to fill out. And the benefit of this is you can pick this up at any point of the year if you decide to get into using your Traveler's Notebook as a planner and pick one of these up, fill them in. The themed versions are a little bit more, and this is filled out for you. It's printed. You get calendars and the numbers are filled out for you. It's pre-populated. It's specific to the year that you are looking at. The theme versions do cost a little bit more though, however. So what I really like about the monthly inserts is the overview that it can give you. And as I mentioned, you can get fairly creative with these. Here's June 2020, for example. And it's just kind of fun, I think, to populate it. And when you take a look at it, when you look back at it, as I'm doing in front of you right now, it just brings back a lot of fond memories just from an overall, April of 2022 or 2020 was really busy. I remember quite a bit going on there. And so they're fun. When I had a bit more time in my life and the ability to slow down, I certainly really enjoy the fact that I could just sit down and this would be a nice journaling experience in itself, filling these out. But things have gotten busier in my life and I don't necessarily have that time. And the one thing that I didn't necessarily like about this eventually was the fact that even though I plan a few things ahead of the month, I was finding in my life things were changing on such a day-to-day basis that whatever plan I had on a monthly basis wasn't necessarily working out. That all being said, though, I will likely gravitate back towards the monthly insert in the future. I just had a lot of fun doing it, and I think things might be slowing down enough that I might be getting back into that. Each insert covers a full 12-month span with an overlap of December, so January, all the way through to December. And then you get an overlap of the previous December, so January 1st, 2020, and this is the the 2020 insert special theme. But you also get a month of December of the previous year, 2019, and you also get an extra month for the 2021 for the year ahead. And so this allows you to just pre-plan for the overlap and post-plan for the overlap with respect to the transitions between the year. In difference to the free diary, you'll notice the free diary version has blank down this right edge here, whereas the theme pack has that all filled out. So just something to keep in mind. The theme pack also comes with an overview calendar at the front. You're not going to necessarily get that again free diary because, of course, it's meant to be a bit more open-ended. So the free diary version of the monthly insert has more of a, overall month view with respect to here's the months and here's the days, so you can populate that yourself. The theme pack, full calendar for the entire year, and also has that month overview with respect to the days, and so you can kind of populate and plan here as well, which I really liked. Never used though. And in the back of the monthly insert, you've got a few extra blank pages here. You've got things to fill out. The theme version of special edition comes with travel information, which you may or may not find useful. I think it's kind of neat to always have on you there. Map and some time changes to look at. And that's really it. A free diary version, the back. Same thing, few blank pages with respect to that. Has a map, some time changes, and a bit of a different format, and that's it. So maybe a page or two more in the special edition version here as well. I've gotten busier in my life, as I feel like we all must feel that way these days in modernity. The planning insert that I gravitated to is the weekly memo. And I love this because of the fact that it's effectively a weekly overview and captures a bit of a daily format, and it has a memo off to the side. And for me, that just it simplifies things quite a bit, but also captures just enough detail in order to feel like I've planned my day. So the weekly memo comes in 6 month spans. So January through to June, and then it'll have in July through till December for each place. And that's just the nature of trying to keep the insert fairly slim in terms of putting it within your notebook. I think having two of these stacked on top of each other here would make it kind of a bulky and unwieldy notebook. Maybe not. But either way, that's what it comes in, 6 month spans. And the first couple of pages are exactly like the monthly insert that I showed you. Has an overall calendar, has an overview. However, the overview is slightly different here, just in terms of a different format. So it's only covering a 6 month span, so the month with the days. You have a bit of an overlap, again, just like the monthly planner insert. However, it's going to be the last week as opposed to a whole month of overlaps. The last week of 2021, this is a 2022 planner insert. So when you jump over to 2022, voila, that's where you begin. So now I've only got the themed versions. That's what I ended up gravitating towards as opposed to do with free diary. When I tried out the free diary, I was kind of experimenting with the planner system. And when I really liked it, with respect to the traveler's notebooks and carrying it around with me, I just always started purchasing the yearly theme. By the way, that is not something that comes from the Travelers Company. I just really like Baby Yoda. And the thing I like about the weekly memo is the fact that it's just enough. So what I mean by that is you've got this whole memo page over here to kind of capture a whole bunch of to-dos, things that kind of pop into your mind and go, yeah, I should really keep that in mind. And then you've got your day-to-day as a former bullet journaler. And I won't go into the reasons why and why not. I've shifted away from the bullet journal system and all that fun stuff. And just to really simplify things and kind of pick priorities for the day, have a weekly to-do list, and that's how I tend to use my weekly memo. The other thing that I tend to do with my weekly memo is divide it into chunks on the memo side. So things that I must get done for the week, things that I'd love to get done for the week, but are perhaps a bit more personal. And then the third one down here is kind of, as the week goes by, oh yeah, I should take care of that next week or next month or whatever it is. The weekly memo is definitely my favorite planner insert. And as I mentioned, while I might gravitate towards the monthly, the weekly memo is going to be a staple in my traveler's notebook. Moving on to my favorite insert, and it's my favorite insert because it does everything, which is the dot grid. The dot grid insert is a 5mm grid spacing. It's got 64 pages. It's thin. It can be used in a multitude of ways, and I used it as part of my category of catch all. So all my notes, anything I want to jot down, any quick remembrances, a little bit of journaling on a day-to-day basis. And I just really, really enjoy that aspect. The dot grid. So as mentioned, my favorite insert, and I've got a brand new one here that I'm going to open up for you. These are about $6 Canadian. There's 32 sheets, and as with all Midori products, fountain pen friendly paper. Its weight is about 80 grams. Now, I should note that the other paper versions of the Traveler's Notebook inserts that are similar to this, do come in blank, they come in lined, they come in grid versions, and I've tried out all of those, but the dot grid is what I just love to come back to. I find it is a good catch-all. So I'm actually going to just open up one of these for you. They come in little plastic sleeves like this. Wish I had a bit more sustainable packaging. That's a separate issue. And what you get in a package, a little bit of explanation, just a little bit of paper protector, really. And there's nothing fancy after that. Open it up. You have title page. Title page. Drawing a bit of a blank there, but either way. And it jumps right into the notebook. And I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but the dot is subtle. And as with all good dot paper and dot notebooks and things like that, I really like the dots to be subtle. Not too subtle that you can't see them, but subtle enough that they can disappear when you use them. As I mentioned, I use it as a catch-all. I use it for journaling on the fly. I've always got 2 or 3 of these kicking around, ready to put into my Traveler's Notebook. They're the ones that I go through fairly frequently. Here's an example right from my Traveler's Notebook. The fountain pen, pencil on the right-hand side here, just really nice paper. It's so smooth. And if I could somehow describe the tactile feeling over the video, it is buttery smooth. So I really like that. So the next 2 inserts that I'm going to be talking about cover the travel journal category for me and how I use my Traveler's Notebook. And the 4th insert that I want to take a look at is the sketch insert. Sketch insert is one that I like to use on long trips. It's really neat because it takes a lot of different media. It can handle fountain pens, it can handle pencils, micron pens, coloring pencils, and it can handle watercolors, although I'm going to talk about that in a second here. The sketch insert comes in thicker paper. It's got a little bit of texture to it. You can almost feel it. Let's just go ahead and bring that dot paper back. So let's just talk about the sound for a second. So subtle, thinner paper, whereas the sketch paper, it's almost like that cardstock sound. So definitely thicker. It's about 156 grams versus the thinner paper, the dot paper, which is 80 grams. And consequently, it has fewer sheets. So the sketch insert has 24 sheets versus the standard 32 sheets for the Midori paper ones, the thinner paper ones. So keep that in mind. It comes in at $8 Canadian. So I really like the sketch insert. It's a lot of fun. Here's some watercoloring. And while the sketch really holds up well to fountain pens, it's got a little bit of a smooth texture, not as smooth as the paper, just the plain paper products there. And I have used a different bunch of media here as well with respect to using this. Now, that all being said, it warps a little bit. I wouldn't say it's overly noticeable. It warps a little bit with watercolors. And so, I don't know if you can see that. It's really hard to tell. But this is a watercolor that I did. And it kind of just isn't so flat. The other thing about the watercolor is that it crinkles, and you can see the wetness coming through on the other side when it dries. So it kind of crinkles on itself. That's probably the only drawback. Oh, and the other thing I should mention about the sketch notebook and the next notebook I'm going to talk about is that they are perforated. It's hard to see again, but there is a perforation line here. If you feel like you want to tear them out, you can. This is an old notebook, so I don't mind doing this on camera, but you do have to pull on it quite a bit. Maybe put your finger down. And I did not do a good job of tearing it. But you can pull each of these sheets out of this sketch insert here as well.
So something to keep in mind. Maybe it's just me. I was a bit paranoid having a perforated notebook or insert on me, and I was paranoid that this would just rip right out. But as you can see there, it does take a bit of effort to just tear out. So I wouldn't worry about that if you are concerned about it. It'll definitely stay in your insert. So that's the sketch. But as I mentioned, there's slight warpage with respect to watercolors here. And so I was pretty excited when the Travelers Company released the next insert. The fifth insert is one of my favorites, probably my second favorite compared to the dot notebook, and that is the watercolor insert. It's slimmer, and I'll talk about why in a second. And it covers the watercolor aspect or watercolor media a little better than the sketch insert as it was designed for watercolors. But I also like the fact that it just is a nice little insert that I can use for travel trailing. It keeps things a little bit slim. And the fact that it can handle, aside from the watercolor, mixed media, just like the sketch. The watercolor is just great, in my opinion. But I tend to use a lot of watercolors, so I really like it. So right off the bat, the difference between the watercolor versus the sketch is the fact that the watercolor has thicker paper. So I talked about the warping aspect in my previous look at the sketch there, and this does not have any warping, doesn't have any bleed through whatsoever in terms of the wet coming through. Whereas going back on the other one, this little bit of warping, it's not quite straight. And then you can kind of see it in the shadows there. The water, when it dries, gives you a little bit of a curved surface. Whereas the watercolor insert does not. There's some watercolor right here. Can't see any of the wetness showing through. So if I can use this example. Yeah, this one's a great one. There's a whole bunch of watercolor. Doesn't show through. The other thing about the watercolor insert is the fact that because it has thicker paper, there's less sheets, as 12 sheets versus the regular 32 sheets of the standard paper. So 32 sheets here, 12 sheets, and then the sketch insert had 24 sheets, and this only has 12 sheets. So keep that in mind. It's almost half, but again, that comes with the aspect of thicker paper to handle the watercolor media a little bit better. So there you go. Let's see if I can squeeze that. Watercolor on the right, sketch on the left. So considerably thinner, which I like, quite honestly. As I mentioned, I use the sketch for longer trips, but I've really gravitated towards the watercolor insert for my travel journal go-to. It's become what I use for short trips, for sketching. I've always got one of these in my traveler's notebook. And I just love the fact that it can handle different media so well. So this is some sketching with a fountain pen, with a micron pen, with some watercolor. And I think it just really adds a nice flavor. The texture, this is a little bit more grippy, I would say, compared to the sketch notebook. So let me see if I can get that really nice, and you can feel it or hear it. That's the sketch. And here is the watercolor. So a little bit more texture on here. Now what that also means is that when you use fountain pens, this is going to have a little bit more feathering, but honestly it's something that I've barely noticed when I've used fountain pens. And perhaps just because I use fine fountain pens, but you can barely tell. You have to look at it fairly close up to actually see. I also like it for the fact that keeps a very slim profile as a travel journal. And for short trips, like this 3-week trip that I took here, I really liked it. It was just enough. I got a whole bunch of watercolors in, fountain pens, photos, you name it. It was all quite there. It retails for $8. So same price as the sketch. Fewer sheets, a lot more thickness,
just like the sketch, this also has perforations. I'm not going to tear this one apart because I actually really enjoy this this little journal I did. And it's just kind of sketching my life throughout a year here. Anyhow, yeah, so you can, just like the sketch one, tear right out. If I was worried about the sketch one losing its sheets randomly, the watercolor definitely will not, because it is thicker paper and it takes more effort to tear out of the insert. So that was 5, but there's a couple more that I really, really like that aren't necessarily available all the time. And as I mentioned in my previous video, the Travelers Company tends to release on a yearly, maybe a biannual basis, special editions of their inserts or their Traveler's Notebook. And with that comes some special editions with respect to the inserts themselves. And the one that I absolutely loved came out in 2021. It is called the BSides and Rarities collection. 2 that I really, really like from that, at least that I use quite a bit, is the Accordion fold paper, which, and I've showed this in the other video. It's this really cool watercolor insert, but it opens up like an accordion. So you can have a sprawling journal, I guess, over a multitude of pages that just kind of folds out. I just think it's really neat. Keeps things slim, a consideration. The other one that I've used, you might have seen it in a few in my journaling videos, is the sticker release. I think this is really neat, just again from the perspective that you can keep all your sister's stickers in one insert while you're traveling, and that way you've got different themes, different iterations with respect to what kind of stickers you want to use. You can put them all in the sticker release paper here and bring it with you over to wherever you're going, or just keep on. So there you have it. 5 Travelers Company inserts that I tend to use and gravitate back towards. I really like them. And once again, there are other brands out there of the Traveler's Notebook and the Traveler's Notebook inserts. And if you're brand new to the Traveler's Notebook system, I do highly encourage you to check them out, see what works for you, see what feels for you. There's cheaper options, there's perhaps more expensive options. There's different sizes of Traveler's Notebook as well, not just the regular passport that I've covered from the Traveler's Company, but there's different sizes that can fit an A5 notebook, for example. For me, I've invested in the Traveler's Company. This is a journey that I'm on with their company. And yeah, I'm a bit romantic about it, because I tend to be about all things in my life. But who knows, in the future, I might consider taking a look at different systems and different brands down the road. So 5 inserts for your consideration. I hope that was helpful. Happy considerations, happy investigations, and happy journaling. Thanks very much. Have a wonderful day. Take care, and bye for now.